Discovery is a personal activity, completely. When I sit down as a user, because Google started this whole search first paradigm, right? Don't look, search. So when it comes to search, search is personal, it's contextual, it's I'm looking for whatever in the context of what I'm thinking right now. And the thing that you'll run into when you start thinking about this is what I'm looking for today is going to be different what I'm looking for tomorrow, and there's every chance I'll use the same Azure search term both days. The next part of it is context is king. We've heard this in a couple of the presentations this week on this track, right? Context is everything. It drives the relevance. Who are you? What role do you have? What project are you in? So when you do a search, what project are you searching from? Which project site, in our case, are you searching from? That all drives context. That helps with the relevance. That helps me understand the context. That's all inferred. Then you've got explicit context, right? The context that the user is telling you. And that's what two of the things we really wanted to solve for, is the inferred and explicit. So your explicit comes from the UX. The user is telling you in your UX what they're looking for. Use that information to reduce the size of the haystack. Most of the time, looking for stuff is looking for a needle in a haystack. I see my goal, reduce the size of the haystack. Make it a little easier to find. So bottom line is it's all about me as the user. So we then came up with a few, what are some of the things, what are the principles we're going to go after here? Above the line here are really UX types of things. Below the line is really content. So what are we really going to go after? Well, one of the things is the best search experience is one I don't have to do. If I don't have to go search for it, I'm a happy camper. So recommendations. Drive the right stuff to the user as they're working, which is the next one. Catch them in the act. So in services, one thing that Microsoft Services likes is tools. We create a lot of them. And a lot of them are specific to business processes for specific purposes. If we've got a tool to do estimates, why can't I drive content recommendations into that estimator tool? Catch you while you're doing your estimations. I can share things like risks. Projects like this had risks like this. Here's some content that you might want to think about. Here's an offer that you might want to go talk to the customer about selling because it's based on the metadata we have in the estimator tool. So remove the need to go search, push as much as you can. It makes them much happier. Then below the line, there is more than one source of truth. This we got out of the feedback from the users. When you're in an environment, and how many of you guys are in an environment where we got multiple tools that your users have to go through? I imagine most, right? It's not an unusual scenario. What we heard back from the users is, yeah, campus isn't the only place for all this content. We, on the campus team, would like to think it is. It's not the reality. The content's sitting all over the place. There's more than one source of truth. So then it comes to integration. You have to get that data pulled in and integrated from these other sources. And you have to make it easy to the user. That's the tough part, right? Simplification is hard. So we have to integrate this content, but we have to do it in a way that is masking the complexity for the user and just shows up in the search results, regardless of where it sits. And then the right content might not be the best content. So this of course, all of this varies with org, but the right content that might not be the best just means that we've got managed content out there, and that's what our corporate leadership is really pushing, is to go use that content. But there are a lot of times when the best content that you need is sitting in a project site that somebody created and didn't share in the community share. So being able to surface that kind of content and do so in a relevant way is important. So we don't necessarily want to, the nutshell of this one is we don't necessarily want to take a whole category of content and push it out of search, because the most relevant stuff could very well be there.